All right, rolling. Okay, so this is for the people at home. We're just gonna all right, we just went through this, and Mr. Todd, will you hit that light for us, please, sir? Thank you. All right, so we looked at Ellis Island, which is one of the poems that you guys are looking at, and we looked at the title. Got a feeling, what did it mean to us when we first looked at it? We know where Ellis Island is, where the Statue of Liberty is. We paraphrased it. This paragraph is about the speaker's European ancestors coming over with hopes of opportunity and hopes of a better future, leaving sickness and quarantine. We talked about the connotation of those words are negative, what they're leaving, and positive, what they're going to. 9 decades, the answerer of dreams. We understand that is positive connotation, right? Then we have the shift to the second, indicated by this fanboy's word, yet, shows a contrast in thought, yet only one part of my blood loves that memory. That is the native lands, and we understand that the other half of the speaker's ancestry is Native Americans. Right, so what we need to do now is take this and put it into a paragraph. If the question is, how does Ellis Island, how does Joseph Bruchac show that the American dream has there's multiple perspectives on the American dream, right? So, anytime we write a paragraph, who remembers the ACEs model? Am I on screen here? Can you see me? Am I here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so ACEs stands for answer the question, cite evidence, elaborate or explain your evidence, cite evidence, explain evidence, and how it connects, and then so what? Why do we care? Why is this important? Why should we even bother, right? So the question is, of course, how does Ellis Island show multiple perspectives on the American dream? Right? And so now we need to commit this bad boy to the paragraph form. Our first topic sentence, we always want to tag our the work that we're discussing. Find the right pen. Being a little choosy today, indecisive, that's all right. Okay, so in this case, we want to say in the poem, so we just take the question and turn it into a statement. Okay, I'll say I'm going to give the tag stands for title, author, genre. In Joseph Bruchac's poem, Ellis Island, and I always put short works in quotation marks. In Joseph Bruchac's poem, Ellis Island, the speaker illustrates how the American dream, or illustrates, excuse me, two perspectives of the American dream. Right? Now I need to cite evidence. in the first stanza, and I talk about the speaker because we don't necessarily confuse the speaker with the poet, right? I might write my poem from the first person point of view of a duck, you know what I mean? The duck walks in, my name is Roger Duck, and I walk into a pharmacy and I asked the pharmacist to give me some chapstick, just put it on my bill. Thank you, Miss Carol. Thank you very much. I'm working hard up here, people. I'm gonna be here all week. Okay, all right. In the first stanza, don't you get it? I'll take some chapstick, just put it on my bill. He's a duck. All right, anyway, you get why we call it a speaker and not the poet, right? Right, because the writer didn't necessarily, his main character in his book isn't necessarily him, unless it's autobiography, right? In the first stanza, the speaker, instead of saying says, see that chart that I have on the board? What's a better word? For says, the speaker, what's that? Not says or uses. Let's come up with a better word. In the first stanza, the speaker suggests his Slavic grandparents left the sickness of Europe for the opportunity or dreams as, what does he say in the poem? Dreams as green, what? What does he say in the poem? Dreams as green. Where's your poem? You have your poem in front of you.
Green as dreams of force and others.
Okay, opportunity for the opportunity for dreams as green as forests and meadows. And we understand that green, green symbolizes what? Green light means go. Green represents nice fertile valleys of opportunity. This sort of a metaphor, right? And the green reminds us of what color is the Statue of Liberty. Green. We talked about that yesterday, right? Okay. And so then the next, the second stanza, the second stanza, reveals that only one part of the speaker of his blood loves that memory. Right? Does anybody know why I put his in brackets? What does it say in the poem? What's that? Okay, yeah, only one part of my blood, right? So when you change a word, you put the word you changed it to in brackets. So we'll talk more about how we integrate quotations, and that's one way. If I cut words out, Alex, I might put ellipses, right? Like dot, 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 right? Okay. I'm gonna erase the question because we know what the question is now because we have it restated in our answer. All right, the second stanza reveals that only one part of his blood loves that memory, right? We understand this part of his ancestry is Native American. Whose land, what happened to their land, according to the poem? Another voice speaks of native lands within this nations, lands invaded when the earth became owned, right? Whose land was invaded. And the earth became owned. So what? This is the most important. How or why is this significant to answering the question? The Native American perspective differs from these people saw opportunity. In conclusion, or the audience realizes that the Native Americans the audience realizes that the opportunity the speaker's European grandparents saw in the American dream, or in the Statue of Liberty, or in Ellis Island. Realizes that the opportunity the speaker's European grandparents saw in the Statue of Liberty represented oppression to his native ancestors. Therefore, two very different perspectives on the American dream are conveyed. Right? Does that sound good? All right, you can either embellish it and make it your own, or you can copy this exactly the way that it is into your notes for future reference. In Joseph Bruchack's poem, Ellis Island, we always want to edit our work, you know. The speaker illustrates two perspectives of the American dream. In the first stanza, the speaker suggests his Slavic grandparents left the sickness of Europe for the opportunity of dreams as green, and this should be in quotes too, opportunity for dreams as green as forests and meadows. The second stanza reveals that only one part of his blood loves that memory. We understand this part of his ancestry is Native American, whose land was invaded and the earth became owned. Right? See how I am blending the poet's words in with my own, my own argument. You getting this down? You want a bottle of water? Get up and stretch your legs. Right? The audience realizes that the opportunity the speaker's European grandparents saw in the Statue of Liberty, see, I'm glad I'm going back through this because I've got all kinds of mistakes, represented oppression to his native ancestors. Therefore, two very different perspectives on the American dream are conveyed, right? Ta-da! All right, now for you at home and you in class, go ahead and, copy that down. You can pause the video and add that to your notes because we're going to be writing a lot of constructive responses as practice before we venture into some longer writing. Okay?